everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel. This story ain't over. So today I am coming to you with another giant book haul. I have somehow acquired a bunch of books. A bunch of these are new releases. A bunch of these were sent to me by the Epic Reads team. A couple of these are arcs for some upcoming releases, and some of these were gifted to me by some friends. So we just have a bunch of books today. I am very excited about like basically every book on this list. There's also a few books in here that my sister got me from India, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going to share them all with you today. So of course I am going to start with the new releases that I'm super excited about. And I'm actually going to start with the one book on this haul that I actually bought myself. And that is The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is the third book in the Arc of Scythe series. I am super excited about this book. I am like almost done it. I have like maybe 150 to 200 pages left of this book. I am just so excited to figure out what happens in the end, and I'm just kind of on the edge of my seat. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of this, which I highly recommend if you were thinking about picking it up. The narrator for the audiobook is Greg Tremblay, and he is just amazing. I feel like he does such a great job with this series and kind of capturing the tone of it. Really excited about finishing the series. It's also like a whopper. It is like over 600 pages, I think, and I'm just insanely excited about it. So stay tuned for my thoughts on it, and definitely let me know down below if you want me to do a full book talk for it. I would love to, but I just want to see if there's interest. But for those of you who don't know, the Arc of Scythe series is kind of like a sci-fi series set far into the future. It's kind of a dystopian, but not really. It is set in this utopian world where humanity has kind of conquered death, disease, and all the sicknesses that could have felled humanity. And so there's this apparatus of people called scythes put in place to kind of curb population growth, and they glean people in certain numbers each year to make sure that the population stays in a sustainable amount for Earth. And then the world is also run by this cloud of human knowledge called the Thunderhead. And the Thunderhead kind of runs the world in a very impartial way. And the first book follows our main characters, Citra and Rowan, who are training to become scythes themselves and end up kind of competing against each other. And it's a really great series. It's one of my absolute favorites. And if you are not reading this series yet, like, what are you doing with your life? Yeah, awesome. The next set of books that I have to haul are all from the same series, and I am super excited about finally owning all three of the books. The third book recently came out, which a lot of people were excited about, me included. I did a full book talk for it because I've already read it, but that series is the Folk of the Air series by Holly Black. So I have the first book, The Cruel Prince, which I did not own in physical copy before. I read it originally through the ebook, through the library, so I'm really happy to have a physical copy. And then the second book, Wicked King, which is probably my favorite, I think, out of the three. Really love this and so happy to have the physical copy because once again I read this through ebook. I think I bought the ebook for this one because I was just really excited and there was a giant wait at the library, but very excited to have the physical copy, and it's just so pretty. And then of course the third book that just recently came out, I have a full book talk up for it, so if you want to go check that out, please do. You can find all my spoilery thoughts on it. This series I definitely recommend if you like fairies, if you like cutthroat characters, if you like a very short and to the point writing style, and some really crazy plot twists as well in this series. Love it so much. I know it's not for everyone, but yeah, if you haven't given it a try, definitely go take a gander. I will say I didn't love The Cruel Prince like from the beginning, but as I continued reading it, like I fell in love with it by the end, and the rest of the series was just absolutely wonderful and amazing. So yeah, definitely recommend. The next book that I have here is another new release that I'm super excited about, and that is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nagan. This is the second book in the Girls of Paper and Fire series. I don't know if that's the name of the like series, but the first book is called Girls of Paper and Fire, and I absolutely loved it. It is like an Asian inspired fantasy. It takes place in this world with like different castes. The main character is of the paper caste, which is the lowest caste, and they are the most human of the castes. The higher castes are kind of more animalistic in nature, and they have magical powers and that kind of thing. And in the first book, the main character, who is of the paper caste, she ends up getting taken away by the king of this world. He is of like the highest class. I think they're called the moon caste, and she's taken away to be one of his paper girls. He has like multiple each year who he kind of uses and then discards. But the thing I love about this series is that it's a story about this girl kind of finding love with one of the other paper girls while she's there, and then kind of rising up and trying to stop this horrible system that's going on. So it does have a lot of triggers for like sexual harassment, rape, that kind of thing, so be careful of that. But a beautiful, wonderful series, and I'm so excited to see where it goes in this next book. I just really love the love story in this as well, so really enjoyed that, and I really want to see where it goes in this one. So yeah, definitely recommend the first one if you haven't read it yet. It's a really great fantasy if you wanted a diverse fantasy, really good one. Yeah, excited to see where this goes. The next book that I have here is another new release. I believe it is by the author of The Wicked Deep. I got this in the Owl Crate box for November through the Enchanted Forest box, and that book is Winterwood by Shia Earnshaw. What I know about this book is that it follows our main character Nora, who is, I believe, a witch, and it also follows this boy who mysteriously disappeared from this camp for wayward boys that is located in like the deep of the forest, and Nora is kind of also lives in the deep of the forest, I believe, and she ends up encountering this boy after his disappearance, once he reappears, and there's like a mystery going on as well. So yeah, it seems like a magical read and also a wintry read, which I'm excited about. This is actually an exclusive cover as well. I think the original cover is either blue or black, I believe. So I'm really excited about having this exclusive edition. It also has blue stained edges, which I am just in love with. It's just so gorgeous, and this is also signed by the author. All right, the next couple of books I have here are ARCs. So the first one is Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. This is coming out in January 2020, and I'm really excited about it because it follows a South Asian main character, and I'm going to read you the back. So Divya Sharma, better known as a popular streaming gamer D1V, regularly leads her hashtag Angst Armada on quests through the vast and gorgeous virtual universe of this year's hottest game, Reclaim the Sun. But out in the real world, she's trading her rising star status for sponsorships to help her single mom pay the rent. Then she meets Aaron Jericho, a fellow gamer who has zero interest in following in his doctor mom's footsteps and dreams of writing video games someday. In Reclaim the Sun, they have each other to face infinite new worlds, until a group of online trolls begins launching real-world doxing campaigns against Divya. The bullies think they can drive her out of the game, but everything and everyone she cares about is on the line, and Divya isn't going down without a fight. I thought this was really cool because the author is actually also a literary agent. I follow him on Twitter as well, but I also thought it was interesting because it's South Asian main character, which I thought was really cool, but also involves gaming, which I love, and it also involves kind of this influencer culture because she is getting these sponsorships. So I thought that that was interesting, and I love that she is like using that money to like support her family, which I think is like a really important thing that sometimes people don't think about. Yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes and if I enjoy it. It comes out January 28th, and thank you so much to Inkyard Press for sending this to me. All right, the next book that I have here is Belle Revolt by Lindsay Miller. This was sent to me by Sourcebooks Fire, and this is coming out in February 2020, and I'm so excited about this. This is such a gorgeous cover. I kind of talked about it a little bit in one of my previous vlogs, but basically it's kind of like a Prince and the Pauper type vibe. It's about these two girls. One is a noble girl, and then one is of like a lower class, and the two of them kind of end up switching lives because they want different things and are trying to uphold this kind of lie. And it also involves some magic as well. One of the characters ends up like, you know, pretending to be this noble woman where they get to train in the ways of divination, and then the other girl, who was originally a noble woman, ends up enrolling to be a physician's assistant as like a lower class person, and uses her natural magical talent to save lives. Their names are Emily and Annette. They end up swapping lives while their nation is facing a terrible war, and there's kind of different repercussions for that. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, and it just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. It is also a standalone fantasy, which I thought was interesting, and it's from the author of the Mask of Shadows duology, if you have read that. All right, the next two books that I have here are ones I'm super excited about. They are adult fantasies, and they are both by the same author. One of these came out a while ago and the other one recently came out. I don't know if they are sequels or if they are companions, but I will find out later when I read them. But I'm really excited about them because they do feature a South Asian like Mughal Empire inspired fantasy, so that is super cool. And those books are Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri and Realm of Ash, also by Tasha Suri. I am super excited about these. I also follow the author on Twitter, and she is just hilarious. I've heard some really amazing things about Empire of Sand. It was like said to be a really great debut, and obviously it follows like South Asian main characters, Mughal inspired fantasy, which is like probably my favorite like era of Indian history. So really excited about this. I don't actually know any more about this. This is just exactly the kind of fantasy that I've been looking for and that I've been wanting to read. So if you have read either of these or both of these, please let me know what you think of them down below, because I'm really excited about them. All right, the next book that I have here is actually the other book that I did buy, and that book is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I've heard some really amazing things about this. This is the paperback, but the original cover kind of looks like this. I've heard some really amazing things about it. It follows these two twins whose names are Jude and Noah, who were originally inseparable. Noah draws constantly and is falling in love with the charismatic boy next door, while daredevil Jude cliff dives and does all the talking for both of them. But years later, they are barely speaking, and something has happened to change the twins in different yet equally devastating ways. And the book is kind of told from both of their perspectives in like slightly different ways, and so you're kind of seeing what happened to their relationship. I'm super excited about this because I've heard just really amazing things about it. And then on the front cover, I just want to read this quote because I think it's interesting. "We were all heading for each other on a collision course no matter what. Maybe some people are just meant to be in the same story," which I thought was interesting. So yeah, I love sibling stories as well, so I'm excited to see how this one is. If you've read this book, please let me know what you thought of it down below without spoiling anything, obviously. But yeah, really excited about this. All right, the next books that I have to haul are sequels in a series that I've already started, and I'm really excited now that I own the rest of the books in this series because I really like the first book and I'm excited to continue reading it. So those books are Layer of Dreams and Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. These are the second and third books in the Diviners series by Libba Bray. So I read the Diviners earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a murder mystery set in the 1920s, and it follows like this huge cast of characters, and there's also like magic involved and like occult and supernatural things going on. So I really loved it. It's like really rich in kind of research and all of that. So I'm really excited to see where it kind of goes in the second and third book. And I've heard from many of you who have commented on my videos that it only gets better as you continue on in the series. So I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm just really excited to see where it goes. All right, the next books that I have here were actually given to me by my sister. She went to India recently and she brought me back some gifts. And it's not that these books aren't available in North America, but like while she was there, she kind of felt like getting me a book from India. So these books are Ram, the Scion of Ishvaku, and then the other one is the Immortals of Meluha. Both of these are by Amish. So I've heard some pretty good things about this author and about these series. They both follow kind of Hindu mythology, and I believe they're told like historical accounts. So that's really interesting. But yes, I'm super excited about these because these also involve like one of the like big Hindu epics called the Ramayana, and it's one of those stories that I kind of grew up like listening about. So I'm really excited to kind of read a book that involves that mythology, and I think they're going to be great. And I also feel like I want to expand my reading into like other countries, like authors from other countries as well. So I think this is a pretty good start. All right, the next book that I have here is Queen of the Conquered by Kaysen Calendar. So I originally heard about this when the whole book snake thing was kind of trending on Twitter, because it is a book snake that is on like, you know, Queen of Nothing and on Ninth House and on Dark Age by Pierce Brown. So yeah, that's how I heard about this book initially, but I'm really excited about this because it is another adult fantasy. It is a Caribbean inspired world, which I thought was super interesting. I'm gonna read you the back. On the islands of Hans Lolik, Sigourney Rose was the only survivor when her family was massacred by the colonizers. Now the king of the islands has declared that he will choose his successor from among eligible noble families, and Sigourney is ready to exact her revenge. A powerful story of colonialism, conquest, and revenge, The Queen of the Conquered starts a riveting epic fantasy duology set in a Caribbean inspired world. So it is a fantasy duology. I think it's gonna be really interesting. I just love that it kind of focuses on colonization and colonialism and that kind of thing. So very excited for this. I feel like although a lot of fantasies have some kind of colonialism focus, this one's like really focused on it, so I think that's gonna be interesting. Let me know if any of you have read this and what you thought of it, because I feel like I've heard some kind of mixed things about it, but I'm still excited about it. All right, and the last 5 books of this haul were all sent to me by the Epic Reads team at HarperCollins. So the first book that I have here is When You Ask Me Where I'm Going by Jasmine Kaur. I've talked about this in like quite a few other videos, but basically it's like a poetry collection. It also involves like a little bit of a short story in it as well. And I've already read it and I absolutely loved it, and I loved going to the event and hearing the author read her poetry and perform for us, so that was amazing. It deals with a lot of like themes of feminism and immigration and kind of what it feels like to grow up as a person of color in a North American country. The author is also Canadian, which I thought was really awesome, so I really love this. All right, the next book that I'm hauling here is one that I'm pretty excited about because I haven't read it, but I love this author because one of her other books is one of my favorite books on the planet. And I know a lot of people love this series, but I just have never read it, so I don't have an opinion on it yet. But that book is Shatter Me by Tara Mafi. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I absolutely love Tara Mafi and her writing. I love her from her book A Very Large Expanse of Sea, which was actually her contemporary debut, but this book is her like first ever novel. It is a dystopian series, and there's like a bunch of other books in the series. So recently I kind of came across a like quote that she put up for the last book in this series that is coming out, I think next year. I saw it on her Instagram and I thought it was just really nice, and so I wanted to read the actual like series. I know a lot of people love it and I want to see if I'll love it too. I did try picking this up a really long time ago in high school, and like I read a couple pages and I wasn't super into it, and I was borrowing it from the library as well, so I didn't have that long with it. But I'm excited to try this again and see if I like it. I feel like I probably will, seeing as how I loved her other book, even though it is very different. So we'll see how it goes. I also feel like there's a really strong fan base for like the different ships in this series, so I'm interested to see who I ship. All right, the next book that I have here is pretty interesting and I'm excited to read it. And that book is the Athena Protocol by Shamim Sarif. I'm really excited about this because it follows like a female spy. So there's like this collective called Athena, which is an elite team of female operatives who like travel the world and enforce vigilante justice. And they're supposed to capture their targets alive, but when the main character Jessie Archer accidentally loses control, she's kicked out of Athena and she ends up going rogue and trying to solve this mystery of this like human trafficking ring in Belgrade, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm very excited to read this. It's a pretty short book, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, interested to see how this goes. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, so if you have read it, let me know down below. It seems like an action movie, and I love action movies, so I think it's gonna be great. All right, the next book that I have here is one I'm super excited about, and that is Butterfly Yellow by Thanha Lai. I'm probably saying that wrong. Basically, it follows these two siblings who flee from Vietnam during the Vietnam War and end up in North America. I think they end up in Texas, but the older sister gets separated from the younger brother, and it's a story of how she ends up finding him again and kind of reconnecting. But there's like a lot of other factors involved and some other characters. And there's also this element of the brother not remembering the older sister as well. So I'm just really interested to see how this goes. And I'm just really excited to see this kind of like representation. I feel like refugee stories aren't as common in YA. So I'm really excited to read this and kind of get that perspective. And the last book that I have to haul today is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. So this is a book that kind of really involves family, and it follows these three teenagers who are related by blood, but they all are living in different families. They were adopted or like ended up in a situation where they're living apart from each other. And I don't know if they end up meeting, but it follows their kind of like three separate stories and possibly how they connect. I'm trying not to spoil myself because I feel like if you spoil yourself for a contemporary, there's not much left. So really interested to see how this goes, and I've heard some really great things about this author, Robin Benway, so I think it's gonna be great. If any of you have read this, once again, let me know what you thought because I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. But those are all the books that I wanted to haul today. That was a ton of books. I was trying to go quickly through them because I didn't want to bore you to tears with all of the details on each one, but hopefully you saw something that you might want to pick up. So definitely let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, if you are planning to read them, if I have somehow convinced you to pick one of them up. Let me know down below. I would love to hear your thoughts, but I will see you in my next video. So please remember that this story ain't over. Bye.